Hello, this is John Montaña. This is a video about an important topic in structures, that is lumber defects and how they affect when we have a piece of wood that have a defect. Most importantly, this drawing here shows where wood is cut, which I will talk about it then in the factors and how this connects with the problems and in some type of defects that can create. All right, so let's start. First, let's talk about the factors. The factors are the amount of moisture that it will have, either when it's cut, then it's delivered into the structure. The amount of moisture can create some problems. That's why in the structures, then would tend to also be reinforced with plasters and another type of material that can be more resistant to water, and also helps with becoming more fire resistant. The thing about the next one would be which stage of the wood was cut in. Most of the time, the spring wood that is most of the time on the outside of the log, because it was created in the more early stages of the tree that grows faster. With this, the problem with this is that the cells they have tend to be have a lot of volume and be really low density. Well, not really low density, but they have a lower density than the summer wood cells that are the ones closer to the middle when the tree start to grow slower, which are more condensed, and also they have a higher density. The next part will be the placing the log, like I said before. Uh, this one being parallel to the walls of the log and being close to the walls can have more problems than this one that is here, that is more like intersecting with the wall. And obviously this one will be the more secure because it's in the middle of the whole log. The next one will be the type of sewing. Sewing also applied with this. In a plain zone, this is how then the planks looks. This is the most common one because it's the cheapest to do. The most cost effective. However, they won't have the problem because have this many like that, then the amount of shrinkage that when it goes to the seasoning process of the wood, that is lowering the moisture of the wood to a point that is required in order to make an extrusion using the wood. In this case, it has to be lower than 15%. And this one, the problem of this one is, like I said before, tend to be on this part of the log, which means that when because of the shrinkage they can have more problems of bending. Then is plain sawnwood, which looks like this. So, like you can see, oh, like you can see with the drawing here, the plain sawnwood, in this case, is is directly cut from here, and the quarter sawn wood is cut from this part like here and here, and it's cut. The thing about this one is that most of the growing lines of the tree are parallel to the length of the wood, which when is go to the season process have less possibility of shrinkage, very good shrinkage, which also helps with the amount of defects that can create through the system process and also when it's put on a structure. Then let's go to, like I said before, seasoning was the most important things, because seasoning is the process of taking out the moisture, which is the one that can create a lot of these problems when the wood shrinks, because the moisture is taken out. And also not only seasoning, but when the wood is on any structure, over time it will decrease the amount of moisture that is in the plank of wood. All right. Okay, the first, now let's talk about the type of defects that wood may have. One of the defects are bow defects. The bow defects um is pretty common, is when the wood bends along the distance of the plank, so tend to bend on from the middle and then create this bow like appearance. Sometimes because it's on tend to be woods that are made for floorings, and most of the time like that, because there are some pressures in certain spaces. um Also the amount of moisture that may have, there are a lot of stuff that can create this one, that is the bow. But then we go to this one, the cup defect. This one is really important. This one is most in comes from mostly from the early stages of the wood. Like for example, it comes from here. Then this piece of wood, when it goes through the seasoning process, taking out the moisture, then it tends to shrinks a little. But because it's like that, also these things wants to come close to each other, so it will start to uh, create this bend, like a cup appearances, and also in the structure, because it's like that distance wants to get closer to each other. In the case of the quarter zone, there is no problem here, because if they want to get close to each other, will not bend the wood because it's already parallel. But in here we have some parallel and also some parts that are intersecting. The next one will be the knot. This one is a natural occurring problem with the wood. Like sometimes we have this small type of circular defections, holes in the wood. This one, the problem starts when the nuts are tight and small. There is no problem about having nuts in the piece of wood. However, when they're not tight enough, then it's not it should not be used in a structure or any type of framing, because these effects are uh, can create big problems. Then is the shake. This one here. The thing about the shake is that this is another thing that sometimes occur in the wood, and you can even see it like when you go to buy a piece of planking, how deep, but like sometimes the wood is separates in these growing lines, just separates and create this small um, um, type of fissure in the plank. The last one is the twist. I mean, it can be something like that. Uh, I mean, this is exaggerating, not gonna lie, but alright. It's just to show the sample of the twist. The thing about the twist is that sometimes there are different bends inside the same plank, and not only that can be created because these other defects, for example, can have um, two bow defects in there, and also maybe some place have a twist, a shake, and maybe have some of this, and can create sometimes that the would bend more than one time, and that's when we call it a twist. So that will be all about wood defects, lumber defects, and how they affect, and how where they are cut affects where the what type of problem they can have and how common we have these problems. Like I said before, this one up here will be the one that can have more defects because of how it's structured, and this one because everything is parallel tend to have little little amount of defects occurring over time. That will be all for this video, and thank you.